Hello, everyone. I want to talk about the 4 year cycle again. And I'm kind of beginning to doubt it now. And I think, there's going to be some, disparities between Bitcoin and altcoins. And also, how this cycle compares to 2017. I'm not so concerned with 2021. It's really not following that pattern. If it's following any pattern, it is 2017. Now, by this time in 2017, many of the altcoins had risen way, way above what they were at the beginning of 2017. And this is exactly 8 years later. Or like they were going to soon rise many times. I don't really see that happening this time, but we can just look at the charts between in 2017 to see what actually happened. So, I've opened up CMC from basically January 17th. Let's go to December 2016 because I want to analyze that too. Basically, December 16th to basically 2017. You can see here we have a little peak right here, and it rose to 1,100. And basically, in December of 24, we almost rose to basically 100 times that at basically $108,000. And then we kind of crashed down and we didn't really hit that price again until February. Obviously, it took us a little longer this time. We didn't hit that price again until end of April. And then we kind of strangled along. We didn't really have this lull. We didn't really have this lull period because we didn't hit the price until April this time around. And by the time the end of May rolled around, May 29th right now, we were twice the price we were in January. Obviously, we're nowhere near that because we're about the same price as we hit in January. Let's actually take a look at what happened after the end of May. We basically had ups and downs, but by the time July rolled around, end of July, beginning of August, Bitcoin had already surged to 50%, 100% more than where we are right now. So between now and 3 months from now, if you want to follow 2017, which I hope we do, we would basically have to plus 60, 70% in price again. So Bitcoin should be at $170,000 by August for it to really follow 2017 from here on out. And then obviously we have a little dip into September, but not too much. And of course, in October, which is when all those altcoin ETFs start coming through, we start going up again. We have dips, ups and downs, and then in November, December, we go really, really far up. Now, I don't think this particular cycle will work out this way because we have a bunch of institutional investors. And back in 2017, remember, this was pre-COVID, and economic sentiment was way, way better than it is now. Right now, economic sentiment is at multi-year lows. We're pretty much at the same economic sentiment as we had during COVID because during COVID, they were talking about the checks, the stimulus checks, and that would really brighten people's mood. Right now, I don't think anyone's really looking at big stimulus checks, so there's not that injection of money during COVID. So that's why the sentiment is down right now, and it's going lower each month because we have the tariffs. Now, I don't remember if 2017 we had the tariffs or not. That might have been later, and those were much more condensed tariffs on China only during Trump's first term. So I'm not really sure what time he had those. It might have been 2018, 2019. But regardless, we didn't have the big institutions and consumer sentiment was a lot better. So because of that, it's mainly big retail money that was actually coming in 2017, 2018. I know for those of you that actually remember that time, people were talking about institutional money at that time. But realistically, the first real hints of institutional money didn't really come in until about 3-4 years later in 2020 and 2021. And there's a lot of institutional money coming in now. So the behavior is going to be different. Institutional money gives us a more of a steady increase, but not as much of a rocketing increase. So, we're not going to go from 100,000 to $1 million like the ratio was in 2017. But after we reach the peak at the end of this year, if this basically holds true, we really won't go down that much, at least not in terms of Bitcoin, because that institutional money is more consistent and basically will prevent the price from falling according to this new institutional model that I'm looking at and also many people have already discussed with me at. So what's going to happen at that point is, yes, we're going to reach hopefully 150, 200,000, not the million we would have reached under like the old model, which might upset some people, but I don't think there's enough money, anywhere near enough money for us to reach a million by the end of this year, or even 500,000 or 400,000. So we could reach like, 150,000, 200,000 by the end of this year. And then we might, the next bear market, we might only drop to about 100,000, maybe slightly less. And the reason for that is, like I've mentioned in many previous videos, that Michael Saylor is going to buy like 10,000 Bitcoins per day for like the foreseeable future. And that stretches out way past the end of this year. Like that's like a 3, 4, 5 year buying scheme. Because remember, he's a 42, which means he wants to buy $84 billion worth of crypto. $84 billion worth of crypto is basically twice what he has right now. And he's taken several years to accumulate up to now. And I think like, even buying 10,000 Bitcoins a month, he's going to have to accumulate beyond the end of this year. And he's going to have like, slow and fast accumulation periods. And I don't think Saylor is going to end at $84 billion worth of Bitcoin. I think he'll like turn the 42 into 84 as he continues to issue more bonds. He's buying at maybe like, I would say $2 billion every like 2 months. Maybe he might be buying like, $1 billion of Bitcoin each month or something like that. Or slightly more, maybe $2 billion worth of Bitcoin per month. And the $84 billion, that's going to last for 4 years. That's going to last for 4 years of buys. So he at least has like 2-3 years of buys left at that specific rate. So his buying is not going to subside. And if you actually look at the chart of Michael Saylor buys, he's intensifying his buys over the last couple of years. And I don't really think he's going to stop. So we have that influence. I just mentioned in my last video, Pakistan just joined, GameStop just bought 4,000 and they're going to buy more. Metaplanet, the U.S. is looking to bring in we're going to buy 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years, build to the floor. That will probably be changed, and that has to be budget neutral. So they'll probably round it down to less than a million, but that's still a lot of buying pressure. You can't just ignore that. It's a huge amount of buying pressure that you're going to have for that time. And there's going to be more countries that actually come in that follow the U.S. We talked in another video about how Japanese bonds, the failing state of the Japanese bond market is affecting the other bond markets, and that might drive more people into Bitcoin as well. So even if retail sells at the end of this year, and I know a lot of people who say they're going to sell at the end of this year because they're following the cycle, I think there will be enough institutional pressure per day to actually like hold the line. We might drop a little bit, but as soon as we drop and like there's like 1 or 2 days that people aren't selling, those Michael Saylors and like the Pakistan, like the Pakistani government, the U.S. government, various state governments, that buying is going to slowly push us back up. And there's going to be that constant pressure to push us back up. So I actually don't think the bear market dip will be nearly as big. And even if we dip like 50%, I think we'll recover much faster than in 2 to 3 years like last time, because there's just too much consistent pressure from big institutions that are going to be acquiring Bitcoin for the next few years. So I actually do think that Bitcoin is going to dip maybe after this year, but not that much, and the recovery will be swifter and more consistent. And Bitcoin will maybe have like a 1 year, maybe like a 8-month, 1 year drop, and then just like go like on a very slow upward sloping kind of trajectory. And I do actually think that overall, like Bitcoin can steadily head up to several $100,000 that way. It won't be like maybe the massive pump and dumps we've had, but it'll be a more slow trajectory. Now, that's not as exciting, but that's kind of what a maturing market actually does, especially for your primary asset. Altcoins, I'm hoping at least some of them will start to do better in November. I think they'll always be more volatile because I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of demand for altcoin ETFs, even if they are there. But I think that should stabilize the coin that should get ETFs. Now, don't think that your coin is special just because it got an ETF. This SEC is going to give everyone and their mother their own ETF. That's kind of the trend I'm actually seeing. You got Trump coin ETFs being filed. You got Dogecoin ETFs. You got Melania coin ETFs. And eventually you're going to get like Bonk ETFs and all that stuff. And Paul Atkins, even though he's kicking all these ETF decisions down the line, I think he's going to actually eventually accept them all. Because, yeah, like, I just like he doesn't want to really regulate anything in terms of crypto, and he's being super super nice and super super like conciliatory towards the crypto market. And I think like he's going to start accepting these ETFs, and I think once he starts accepting these ETFs, there's going to be very few ETFs that he doesn't actually accept. So keep that in mind, guys. I definitely think that I definitely think this is an opportunity if you want to buy Bitcoin. But even if he accepts those ETFs for altcoins, they'll get a little bit of a boost, and maybe the ones that get an ETF will be a little bit more consistent, but they won't have the same consistency as Bitcoin, and they don't have the same institutional buyers as Bitcoin. So I have a feeling that in a bearish market, if once people see that these altcoins aren't getting the buys that Bitcoin is, some of the retailers will either A, sell some of these utility altcoins back into Bitcoin for more safety, or B, sell them for meme coins for the for basically the pump effect. Now, there's a lot of gamblers in crypto. That's why I think a lot of them will actually sell for the meme coin effect. Because if they want 50 or 100x, they're not really going to get it with these ETF cryptos. They know they got to go for that new like Obama Inu meme coin that just came out. And that'll actually have the effect of having a lot of these like mini pumps or like big meme coin pumps even during a more bearish market. I think like generally after this, the overall altcoin market is probably going to move according to the economy and consumer sentiment, just in a more like explosive way or a more exponential way. And you'll have to like, instead of tracking Bitcoin, maybe, I mean, Bitcoin's still going to be a mover, obviously, but maybe they'll be tracking like consumer sentiment and other things like that. And generally tracking the economic cycle, because as people feel they have more money, they will actually buy more risky assets. Whereas Bitcoin's going to be seen as a hedge or reserve asset, these altcoins might be seen as more risky assets. And of course, especially the meme coins. So if you really want the ROIs, I think in crypto, you're going to have to play that gambling game, after this. Because I definitely think like, I'm not going to say the 4-year cycle is done. I have to see more proof. Especially at the end of this year, the 4-year cycle is done, and the relationship between Bitcoin and altcoins is deteriorating. But right now, from seeing the rising Bitcoin dominance and the amount of companies committed to buying Bitcoin versus the no companies committed to buying altcoins, I'm kind of starting to see that specific relationship actually appear. And like I said, this is why my theory of like Bitcoin, like ETFs and meme coins, I think is going to reign true, because I think like for retail investors, it's going to be really hard for you to sell them on the utility argument of like a mid-tier coin, because like the utility argument just doesn't ring as strong as it did years ago, because I think people have been very, very disappointed with the utility argument and the prices, whether it's been like XRP, HBAR, or any other like coin. The prices that have been like talked up on based on utility just haven't happened. The utility doesn't even seem to have really much of an effect on the price of the coins. And I think people are going to recognize that. And the people that want to gamble are not going to look at utility. They're going to look at the massively pumping meme coins. So there's going to be a break between the Bitcoin and altcoin markets. In my opinion, Bitcoin will still be a mover. When it goes up, it will drag the market up. But I don't know if it's going to drag it up quite as exponentially as it has in the past. Because because the big guys are going to exponentially buy Bitcoin from now on, but I don't think they'll dabble in altcoins much, and I definitely don't think like the funds, the pensions and stuff are going to dabble in altcoins at all. I think it's going to be mainly Bitcoin focused. You see, essentially like all the state funds, they basically have this requirement that essentially like the coins they have in their funds have to be at least $500 billion in market cap or $750 billion in market cap. That's just like a BS number, essentially. That is just them saying that Bitcoin's the only thing we're going to buy. Because like I think there's very few coins, if any, that'll actually reach that market cap anytime soon. I think there's going to be more cryptos, and that's how they keep the Bitcoin like dominance under check. And the more cryptos will take up like more market cap. So like Bitcoin dominance might only soar to like 65 or 70. Because like there's going to be a lot more competition in the altcoin ranks. But do I think any individual altcoin is going to surge past $1 trillion? I think it's actually going to be kind of hard, especially because the so-called utility doesn't actually affect the price of any of the coins, and it's going to be mainly speculation. Now, maybe if like Solana or something actually gets institutional buyers, like the Solana Strategy Corporation. If more of those people buy Solana, something like Solana can do it. But that's a really, really big speculation. And I suspect it isn't going to work quite as well as some people will hope. Maybe Solana will draw in the buyers as like more stuff actually builds on Solana, but I don't really know if any of those are like, industry utility or like will be used enough to pull the price up. I mean, I am bullish about the Kraken Solana tokenizing stocks thing. I think that's very, very useful. But a lot of this like RWA or like RWA tracking and other stuff, I mean, it's cool for the chain and it's great for the foundation that they're making money on usage. But just like all the XRP, like X current stuff, it doesn't actually help the price of the coin. So that's why I think like Bitcoin getting like big institutional buyers is direct pressure on the price of the coin and it will lift it up. But some of these altcoins won't really have that effect. And you're just going to have to hope that the ETFs pump them up as well. So we'll see what happens in like October, November, December. But right now I think is a good time to buy Bitcoin because even if it dips after November, December, I don't think it's going to dip by that much. Altcoins I'm much less sure about. I would put some money in them, I guess, at this point before like October. But after October, like after the crest, I would actually sell the altcoins because I don't think there's going to be nearly as much holding altcoins up as holding Bitcoin up. So that's kind of my spiel for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.